seriously. Today, we are going to speak about the topic I think would interest and even worry many people. Here you see my picture several years ago when I was much younger. Those who do not know me, let me introduce myself. I am doctor in medicine, immunologist, geneticist, 37 years of official work in medicine, 27 years as a military doctor, 26 years I have professionally worked on orthomolecular medicine, naturopathic medicine, herbal medicine, whatever you name it. During that time, I have studied supplements of 5 international companies. I was a speaker on 15 international medical conferences in 7 countries. So let us start. The topic of today's meeting is that you have to sleep enough in order to be healthy, successful, and happy. And it seemed to me that this Jean-Paul spoke very well about this topic. He says, if I don't get enough sleep, I don't love anyone. Probably everyone has encountered this situation. So, attitudes towards sleep and health. The older we are, the more we think about our health and we pay attention, more attention to our health. In youth, where nothing worries us, praise God, we are careless. We don't care what we eat, what we drink, how much we sleep, when we go to sleep. No one thinks about it when nothing is happening. But after a while, we become more careful and wiser with our health. And statistics of the last decades says that especially in big cities, 1 person out of 10, which is 10% of population, not just old people, start to take care of their health. What health? Not just physical health, but also mental health and body in general. Of course, during this time, as you understand, big leap in its development, and it has new fields like neurobiology. And today we will look into that. What is that? That is a science that studies everything in relation to neural system, of course, including pathologists. And one of the fields is connected to our sleep, to our rest. And there is even this field that is narrow specialization, which is called somnologists. These are people who specialize in sleep matters. Of course, sleep is connected to brain. Why are we talking about nervous system? The beginning of studies, in the beginning of studies, people thought, according to historical records, 4,000 years ago, people already thought about that. Oxford reference on psychiatry on page 26 writes about this historical record that people were interested in brain and in sleep, somehow, the way they understood it. They understood that our sleep is connected to our head, that is within the head, our brain. And a special leap was research in 1980s on the effect of sleep on our health. Of course, it's major influence, and it doesn't matter when, by day or by night. When we sleep, our brain our sleep influences the work of our brain. First of all, it helps improve memory. Next, it increases certain neural connections, but unnecessary connections for our body are being cut. Also, during night, the brain completely reads the whole body and the tasks we planned for the next day. Why I speak slower and emphasize that? Because that is very important for our business. For any activity, planning is very important. Planning for your next day. They say in Russian, there is a saying, morning is wiser than evening. Brain switches during the night. Our body takes rest, but our brain does not take rest. It switches to different tasks. And what's interesting, as soon as we lose interest in something new or interesting, as soon as we stop learning something good, then during sleep, brain sends signals to the body to grow older, and older. And I don't think any one of us would enjoy that. Next, night sleep is directly connected to secretion of hormones, which are very important in regulating circadian cycles, day night. Why? Because during the day we have a certain way of life, and during night is different because we sleep. And also, if we speak generally now, brain gives commands. We sleep, but it works and gives commands to the heart, to lungs, and to other organs how to work. Can you imagine what would have happened if it stopped working by night? We would be afraid to fall asleep. For example, we sleep on breathing out and then we forget to breathe in. That would not be so funny. But we can go to sleep calmly without worrying that we will keep breathing in and out and there will be heart contractions, because that's what our brain does. Now, about sleep deficiency, what are its consequences? I'm not speaking about behavior now, but what it does to our body. It damages the metabolism of different mediators. Mediators are what provides synchronicity within our body so that organs would listen to each other and work correctly. And when a person is ill and some organ is out of sorts, it means this synchronicity is damaged. And in order to restore that, you have to sleep, because that is when the synchronicity is getting restored. You understand well that a healthy person sleeps a certain number of hours, but an ill person sleeps more hours. They even say sleep cures. Ill people have to sleep more. And I understand that now you understand. I hope you now understand why. We are children of nature, whether we want it or not. We are a part of nature. We are not kings of nature. We have a common code with everything in the mother nature that is around us. And that means we are part of seasons. It's spring, summer, autumn, winter, and the same things happen to us as to nature. Now it's autumn. Let's discuss autumn. What's happening to us? In autumn and winter, we have a decrease of hormone called serotonin. That's the hormone of joy. That's the hormone of pleasure or happiness. And this hormone is related to sun. I told you we are children of nature. So as humanity, as there are daily and nocturnal animals in nature, so are we animals who are day animals when the sun is up. So we wake up with sun, we go to sleep with sun. So all our cycles in our body are focused on the sun. So when autumn comes, the sun hours are shorter. So what happens? The secretion of this hormone of joy is less and less, and we can become depressive. There is even this saying that autumn sorrow, and so something happens to us, but we still need additional support then during autumn and winter. Otherwise, we would have to hibernate. So simply remember any song, any poem of any poets who wrote about autumn. How does it sound? With a certain fog of sorrow, of sadness, not excitement, not joy, but certain sadness. So, autumn for us, in terms of health, is very important, and it's all connected also to sleep. And now let's discuss the following: night and what does the brain do during sleep. So, when the sun is down and we are asleep, what is happening? Let me emphasize once again, the brain does not sleep. So, sleep is connected to brain, but brain does not sleep. It keeps working only on other functions. And it has twice as many functions than during the day, because it makes a review of our thought, of everything we thought during the day. The brain starts sorting that, and it processes and strengthens neural connections. The thoughts and the desires that week or months to months, what we clearly concentrate on for a long time. At the same time, anything excessive, unuseful thoughts, because we get distracted on many things during the day. So all that which is unuseful to our body and our brain, it is being thrown away. So the brain concentrates only on the things we thought about for a long time and finds solutions. You know why it does it during sleep? Because we do not hinder it with our own thoughts that are during the day. The brain itself looks for solutions. And here you can see a slide with the portrait of Dmitry Mendeleev. Everybody knows this legend that during sleep he saw the chemical elements table. The thing is that he thought about it for a very long time. He was taken by that thought for many years, I know for sure, because I was interested in his biography and his discoveries. Before him, chemical elements were already discovered. He was just looking for connection. And during sleep, during the review of different thoughts, this periodic table was clearly formulated. There's another scientist that had the same story happening to him. He also carried thoughts, and then during sleep, his brain gave a solution, Nixon Bohr of planetary model of atom. You studied that at school, electrons flying around in the atom. That's the picture that this person thought of, and then dreamt it. So what about our business? If you concentrate on any task, and that's for any business, basically, not just our business, if you concentrate on something in life and you think about it, then definitely at night, the brain will remove all the excessive things and will tell you the solution, and you will understand where to go, who to talk to, about what. There used to be that myth that we only use 10% of our brain, of its abilities. You probably also heard about that. So neurobiologists, two main of whose is Gordon and Simontovich, disproved that because our brain is perpetuum mobile, that works non-stop 24/7, and by night our brain thinks better, makes better decisions, because we do not hinder it. So, what are the signs of sleep deficiency? How to know whether we sleep too little or too much? It's easy. There are signs. For example, muscle pain. It would seem this is sleepiness would be the main sign. No, muscle pains. The whole body aches. Then eyesight lowering, and nuances of color fade, even up to not differentiating colors at all. Depression, loss of interest, not only for something new, but a complete apathy for life. And only then sleepiness during the day, weakness, weaker concentration of, and decrease of memory. Turns out that our favorite body posture during falling asleep and during sleep has direct effects on sleep quality and then on our health. Let's consider this. Sleeping on your belly. I think that some of our today's listeners might be the ones who sleep on their belly and hands around the pillow or under the pillow, but on your belly. So this posture helps digestion, yes, but it worsens the spine. If you have problems with your spine, different problems with the spine, what could be those? It's when something aches in the spine, then you should not sleep like that. Then on the right side, it's like embryo posture. Sometimes two legs are bent, sometimes one. From the point of view of health, on one hand, it helps brain during sleep to get rid of toxin. But if you sleep on the back, it's called royal posture. This will help both brain and the whole body both get rid of toxins and get rested, and most importantly, to restore faster. On the slide that you currently see, the pose on the right with arms down. You can fall asleep hands up, but you should sleep hands down on the back. So statistically, major research in military medicine were done, and it's easy for me to speak about it because I definitely know where you can see most how soldiers sleep. You enter, you can see how they sleep. some sleep on the side, some on tummy, some on their back. So military medicine has studied that because it wants to know how much sleep a soldier needs to be ready to fight again, to concentrate, to understand commands, to have good response time. So they discovered that the shortest, most efficient sleep for restoration is in Japan, where all the soldiers sleep in this royal posture on the back. Also, Leonardo da Vinci has this posture on his drawing. Body needs less sleep in this posture, and its restoration effect is most efficient. So, what is responsible for sleep? Where is this spot? Like a switch or an enter button on the computers. So there is an organ that is responsible for that in the brain, that is responsible for sleep. So it's a substantia reticularis. It's a biological mechanism of adaptation, and it has its functions. And I think it's important for you to know, to understand, because our task is to live consciously. Of course, I could build my webinars as formulas to show a picture and say this is for this and this is for that. But I have another task. I want people to understand. When people understand, they are able to understand it further without me. This works because of that. This formula works because of that. So what does this reticular formation do, or substantia reticularis do? It's the generator of energy, because brain consumes a lot of energy. Also, it secretes hormones. It gathers information from everything that surrounds us by day, sounds, tastes, smells, and so on. All of that goes into reticular formation, and then from reticular formation, it goes to another part of the brain, and then in hypothalamus we understand where is active and when to sleep, or to be passive, for our body to get restored. Now, about hormones, we will separately discuss them, but let me just tell you that there are 3 hormones that reticular formation works on during sleep. It's serotonin, that is for happiness, peace, gladness. Next hormone, dopamine. Dopamine also is about joy, but it's about wow, yes, a very sharp victory, like winning first place, and you have taken a rank. That's dopamine. It's a very short but strong joy. And the third, oxytocin. It would seem just a hormone, but it's so important for our life, for our activity, for any business. This is the hormone of trust, how much people trust us and we trust them. It strengthens relationship when people during the day form their relationships with people. So oxytocin is what helps strengthen relationships and take correct financial decisions. So how So therefore, we cannot go without sleep because we work on health, our health. And we also tell other people how to be healthy and happy. And naturally, if they want additional income, we will also be glad to tell them about that. So all of that together is very important. And once again, there have been research, and I always speak about scientific data because I am from science world. I can't just guess something. So speleologists, these are scientists who study volcanoes, went into one of the dead volcanoes, and they lived there for a while. So they were isolated from sounds, from sunset, sunrise. They had a completely different dimension, and their reticular formation that works on sleep received completely different signals. And you know what happened? What we have in normal life, that reticular formation secretes that switch between day and night, and our body knows when to switch in 24 hours. But the scientists were in different conditions, and they didn't have 24 hours. Their body changed, and their day became longer, like 28 hours. There was this shift. So we should know how important sleep is for health and our happy life in general. Another thing that is interesting is gender approach to sleep. Our brain, where this reticular formation is about 2% of our body weight. So from 1 to 2 kilos. And what always interested researchers and scientists, it's first of all to study geniuses, great people, to identify what distinguishes them. So after they died, they weighed their brain, and it turned out that the weight of the brain has no influence on intellect. So the size there does not matter. There are even specific numbers. One of the biggest brains was of Ivan Turgenev, 2.2 kilos. Smaller of Anatoly France, 1.7. But German von Gerkolz didn't even have half a kilo. I don't remember precise numbers, but they were all geniuses. So the size did not matter. But what's interesting, male and female brains, according to weight, a male brain is a bit heavier than female by about 150 grams.
In this respect, women have a lighter brain, lighter head, and it may be related to that or maybe not, but we perceive the world through emotions and through feelings. I'll give you a simple example. Clothes or things. What is a new jumper or a new suit for a man? He wears it, puts it on for several times, and it is still new. What about women? We put something on and we put it on once, and the second time, if you wear it for the second time, it's not new any longer. We need something new, something different and new, and we need to go shopping. If I wear something for the second time, it's not new anymore. So about the sleep as well, we need a little bit more sleep. Women need more sleep than men, especially when we are young, to restore our body and restore our health. And we are now approaching the things such as stages and phases of sleep, so that we are knowledgeable, so that we understand these aspects. And during the night when we sleep, there are several stages and phases of the sleep, and you can see this graph. I'm going to explain it. The first stage, that's not the first phase, but the first stage, that's the stage of falling asleep or getting ready for sleep, and everyone has their own ritual before they go to bed. They brush their teeth, they wash their hands, someone maybe takes medicine, someone reads a book, all depends on the individual. So we go to bed, and under normal conditions, if there is no insomnia, we aren't talking about insomnia now, it takes approximately 10 minutes for our body to relax, to become numb and insensitive, and biological processes get slower in the body, and we start falling asleep. The second stage consists of 3 phases. You can see phase 1, 2, and 3. They are marked in blue. I think it is very well drawn. And it is called slow sleep phase. What does it mean? This slow sleep takes 75% out of the entire duration of sleep. 75% is this slow sleep. And during this time, the body restores slow sleep with slow restorative processes. And now about these phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So phase 1 is the first phase when we are slumbering or catnapping. The next phase, phase 2, is light sleep. And what happens then? The body is paralyzed. The body already sleeps, but hearing is still operating. The body sleeps, but we still hear things. What happens outside? If a car drove by, voices outside, and finally, phase 3 is the deep sleep, and it is long, up to 90 minutes. And that's the period when we see dreams that we don't remember. We don't remember these these dreams. We know that something happens because there have been studies, but we don't remember them at all. And finally, the fast or rapid eye movements, the fast sleep, rapid sleep, and it continues after the phase 3. This stage of rapid sleep consists of 2 phases. You can see phase 4 and phase 5. And this is this deep sleep, when we sleep really, really well. What happens during this stage? This is 25% out of the entire duration of sleep, and we can have colorful dreams. There are people who have very colorful dreams. And this is this stage of deep sleep. And very interesting moment. If we look at people who sleep, you can determine that this person is in deep sleep, fast asleep. Why is that? Because the eyelids are closed, the eyes are closed, but the eyeballs move because as if a person reads a book or watches a film, we are at the cinema, we are watching our dreams. So there are eye movements. And that's when subconscious operates in this stage. And this is something very popular. People claim that miracles can even happen if we get connected to this phase. And at the end of this phase 5, of this rapid eye movement, or REM stage, this is deep sleep. And that's when we dream. And we remember these dreams. So you understand when we wake up, depending on whether you remember your dreams or not, you can understand during which phase you woke up. So this full cycle takes 1 hour and 20 minutes. And at night, we have to have these, at least 5 of these cycles. You can also have more, but the perfect number is 7, 5, 6, 7 times. And only then we have completely reloaded our brain. What does it mean to reload the brain? That's quite interesting. And in this slow stage, when our body restores, there is blood supply to the brain, nutrients, oxygen, of course, everything goes to the brain, to the head. And during this rapid phase in deep sleep, there is the outflow of blood, and there is another fluid, it is called lymph in our body. And there is a lymph supply, and as a wave, it washes, it rinses the brain and carries away all toxins, all fatigue that accumulated during the day. And the brain gets rid of all of that. Why you need these 5, 6, 7 cycles? So that there is sufficient number of rinsings by lymph, so that lymph can cleanse the brain, and then the body can restore and rejuvenate. So what is important for us? It is important to remember that in this deep sleep phase, we have detox. And then again, we have blood supply, etc., etc. Why do we need to know that? When we decide when to go to bed and when to wake up, if you know these cycles, you can regulate and adjust it consciously. It was allegedly the expression of Galileo that mathematics is the language of nature. So 5 cycles, it will be 6 hours 40 minutes. 6 cycles will last 8 hours. Because 1 cycle, if you remember, is 1 hour and 20 minutes. 7 cycles is 9 hours 20 minutes. But not everyone can afford it, maybe at the weekend. If you fall asleep at 11 p.m. and then you have 5 cycles, the minimum that is required, you get up at 5:20, the correct phase, the entire body has already been restored. If you can go get up later, then you have 1 more cycle. You go to bed at 11 p.m. and then you get up at 7 a.m. 7 cycles. If you go to bed at 11 p.m., then you get up at 8:20. But if you go to bed at midnight, your entire cycle will finish at 6:20. So you can use this. And if I need to go somewhere or during a business trip, you can simply calculate if you go to bed at a certain time, your brain needs 1 hour and 20 minutes to restore its full capacity. So you set your alarm clock at the correct time so that you get up easily without postponing it for 5 more minutes and 5 more minutes, etc. And then you will avoid these situations. Then you get up in a full mood because even person sleeping for a long time don't feel well in the morning. A person's age and amount of sleep. So from the age of 11 to 19 years. But first of all, let me tell you something else. The brain develops quite for a long time. The growth stops earlier. In women, it develops until for example, if she gives birth at the age of 18 or maybe 17, then the growth stops. Usually at the age of 18, 19. Men grow until they reach the age of 22, 24, but they don't give birth. And the military medicine knows that when guys start serving in the army, start their military service, they are shorter than when they finish their service. They are broader in shoulders and they are also taller. From 11 to 19 years, this is the most important period for the brain development, and the amount of sleep is important. And it depends on the age. And also how many cycles. And now you understand why these cycles are important. 1 hour, 20 minutes multiplied by 5, 6, or 7. That's important for health. From 26 to 64 years, you need to sleep from 7 to 10 hours. The minimum amount is 6 hours. That's 5 cycles, and 10 hours at most. And for people over 65 years, 65 years plus, then 7, 8 hours of sleep if they can go to sleep. And children need more sleep. You can understand they need to sleep more to develop. And now the scientists in the UK and in China studied sleep, and they made an interesting conclusion. To minutes, there are phases 4 and 5 when the lymphatic system, the lymph, rinses, washes the brain, and carries away all toxins. So they came to a conclusion that at least 7 hours of sleep are required. And an international group of scientists from Denmark, the USA, and Switzerland carried out another research. And if you don't sleep for more than 24 hours, they had volunteers, of course. So they didn't sleep for 24 hours, then they continued working, and the brain of a young person gets 1 or 2 years older at once. So that's the impact of sleep. Now let's talk about sleep, health, and hormones. What do we need to know? We've already talked about circadian cycles, about hormones produced at night. Very briefly, there is a hormone that is called sleep hormone and youth hormone at the same time. And there is also a hormone that is in charge of circadian rhythms, melatonin. You must have heard about it, and it is also sold as pills in pharmacies. It has its own cycle from 22, from 11 p.m. till 2 a.m. There is the maximum level of melatonin in the blood. To be honest, we can't always manage to go to sleep at 11 p.m., but we can't always manage because of kids, because of other duties, because of work. Okay, you went to bed at 11, not at 10, for example. 10, of course, is optimal, but it's important to go to bed today and wake up tomorrow. Today means before midnight, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. The maximum blood melatonin level is observed. And then after 2 a.m., its level decreases, and then it gets to minimum. At the same time, another hormone that is called growth hormone, somatotropin, and that's a very important hormone. Its maximum level is from midnight to 1 a.m., a very brief interval. And that's why I said you need to go to bed today and wake up tomorrow. That's the hormone that has its peak level at this time. Of course, it is present in the body, but the peak level is from midnight to 1 a.m. What is this hormone? This hormone is growth hormone. It is clear what it does in children, they grow. But what about adults who don't grow? This hormone is synthesized in the brain, and then it gets to the liver. And the liver then produces growth factors. They get into the blood and they go to different organs. And then this growth factor results in replacement of cells, in rejuvenation. And every organ rejuvenates and restores at its own rate. And that's very important if we want to live healthier. Of course, no one knows how long we will live, to what age we will live, but the body will remain healthier for a longer time. And that's what somatotropin does. Why is somatotropin important as well? What is the other reason? It also burns fat. This is a fat burning hormone, and it only burns the white fat that is not favorable. There is also brown fat, but that's something that is required. It is around our organs as a cushion to protect our organs. But somatotropin, along with keeping our body younger and healthier, it also has this wonderful function of fat burning. And another thing I wanted to mention, you can see the clock shows 7 p.m., let's say. From 7 p.m. to midnight, we also have an antidiuretic hormone. It helps us not to go to bed at night, not to go to toilet at night, but instead stay in bed without going to the toilet. And that's a very interesting number, this 7 p.m. Because from 7 p.m., these two hormones, melatonin and somatotropin, keep synthesizing. And we have another very interesting hormone, insulin, and it is synthesized at every meal. They cannot be synthesized at the same time. Either we have melatonin and somatotropin, or insulin. They are antagonists. But before 7 p.m., you can eat. Everyone knows that until 6 p.m., but knowing all these mechanisms, I know you are allowed to eat until 7 p.m. But then, if you didn't manage to eat before 7 p.m. and you're hungry, you came from work and you can't go to bed, you can't go to bed without eating, and at night food is healthier and much tastier in the refrigerator. And what can you do? You can even help your body. What can you eat to help your hormones? And then you can also get rid of extra fatty cells. You can eat egg whites. You can boil eggs and eat egg whites, and you can eat vegetables. I'm not going to tell you about the mechanisms. If someone wants to hear about them, I can give a separate speech on that. But if you eat that after 7 p.m., it will not hurt our body. It will even be beneficial for the body because it will help losing weight. So what do we need to know? From 10 p.m. to midnight, this is the most important time when the central nervous system is relaunched. And that's why we need to go to bed today, even if it's 1 to midnight or 5 minutes to midnight. Then the 3 o'clock phenomenon, that's very easy, very clear, because we don't have much time. We have a lot of information. So what is this phenomenon? For example, you wake up at around 3 a.m., at a 3:15. You looked at the time and then you start suffering. You close your eyes, you lie down, and then when you are in the dark, you don't understand the time. So if you woke up at 3 o'clock, our body will never be able to fall asleep until 4 o'clock. That's the 3 o'clock phenomenon. What should you do? You don't need to suffer to stay in bed. And these people, they say, I didn't sleep for the whole night. Yes, they will perceive this 1 hour of insomnia as if they didn't sleep the whole night at all. And then in the morning, he will say, I didn't sleep and I have insomnia. I don't sleep at night. So I couldn't sleep the whole night. I'm asking, what time do you wake up? At 3. How do you know that? I know that. That's a very interesting moment. So what can I recommend? Don't suffer. Don't worry. Do something. Read a book. You can knit something, but remain calm. As soon as you see it's 4 o'clock, go to bed. Your body will fall asleep after 4 o'clock. Then, if you woke up, but it's not 3 o'clock, if you woke up at about 5, your liver is screaming, is sending signals, turned on an alarm that the liver is unable to cope with detox function, because that's the night function, and liver is the biggest organ carrying out this detox function. And then kidneys need to relieve your liver that isn't coping at night. Kidneys need to excrete, and kidneys excrete as much as they can with urine and all these waste products, all this waste material that the liver was supposed to neutralize and to excrete. I hope the 3 o'clock phenomenon is clear and maybe it will be useful. If I wake up at 3 o'clock, I'm very happy. I understand I have 1 hour and I can do something useful. Then preparation for sleep. When is it better to wake up? If you use this information, if you use this knowledge, I don't remember I have been using these for decades. I know what time I go to bed. I calculate, I count what time I should get up, and then I set the alarm clock accordingly using these phases. So, if you manage to have dinner before 7 p.m., that's fine. If not, then you can have this snack, egg whites and vegetables after 7 p.m., and it will help you lose weight. Then have a calm evening. Aerate your bedroom. It's very important because our lungs start pumping oxygen from 3 to 5 o'clock, not only to the entire body, but to the brain as well. And the brain requires a lot of oxygen. So you need to aerate your bedroom. You need a comfortable bed and pay attention to your pillow. Everyone needs to have their own pillow. I'm not going to tell you in details why. Trust me, don't exchange pillows. Everyone has his own pillow. Then lack of light. Yes, if you have problems sleeping, of course, it's better if you close the curtains completely so that there is darkness in the bedroom. Some people believe it's not a problem, and some people can fall asleep even with a TV set, but it's better if there is no light in the bedroom. Now about colors. There are two colors melatonin prefers. That's yellow, and it's good to make your to have yellow light in the bedroom. Maybe you need to have bed linen that is yellow if you have sleep problems. And another color that destroys melatonin, prevents from melatonin synthesis, so it prevents from sleeping. That's the turquoise or light blue color. So think about curtains, think about bed linen. That will not help you sleep properly. This slide, we don't have much time, but I wanted to show you that at different stages of our life, when we work or when we sleep or when we think, whatever we do, the brain has electric and chemical reactions, and there is a wave that can be observed. There are alpha, beta, gamma, theta, and delta waves. The only thing I would like to say is that the most interesting waves are gamma waves. And why are they the most interesting ones? They are the waves used by people with extra senses. And while the child's mind is quite free, it means they can use intuition, and I learned how to use that, how to put my brain in gamma waves.
For example, a child goes to one stranger at once, stretching arms, but against another person shouts and screams and doesn't want to approach that person. Why? Because they feel these waves and they respond to them. That's a good thing, but that's a separate topic. What else should we know? Where is our brain at rest? When it switches to special mode, which is called as the network of passive mode of brain work. That is when we have some monotonous work. For example, chores at home or walking somewhere. When we do something when our head can rest. So that's a switch of activities, also rest. People say, if you're so tired, start cleaning your apartment. That's how it is for the brain. So our time is ending. Okay. So the sources of energy, our brain needs energy, meaning carbohydrates are necessary, but you have to remember that carbohydrates, 120 grams of glucose is necessary for brain to work well. Natural sugars like beetroot, grapes, kiwi, raisins, honey, dates. Next, fats. We cannot go without it because when 1 gram of fat burns 9.29 kilocalories are generated because our brain is a piece of fat, so it needs fatty acids. And fats could be of animal or plant origin. And you know that, well, I don't have to list them again. Fatty fish, berries, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, and so on. Why am I saying that we need sources of energy for the brain? Because brain takes up 25% of the whole body energy. But the thing you see here on the right is destructive. Trans fats, sugars more than 25 grams. So 5 teaspoons of sugar is okay. And salt 1 teaspoon per day. But most products now have lots of sugar and salt. And we know that, so we should avoid that. So sources of energy as tea and coffee. Yes, they are sources of energy, but you have to understand about caffeine because it's present in both these drinks. So the goal of caffeine when it goes into the blood, its target is brain, which means we become more awake. And so during the day, when we do not sleep, we have such molecules which are called molecules of fatigue, adenosines. So between neurons, they are there. So they get there and they compile. And the more adenosines we have, the more tired we are, and we start getting asleep. So what does caffeine do? It puts out those and blocks them, and there is no adenosine then. And by the way, lymph that washes the brain every cycle in certain phases also but you have to remember those who drink a lot of coffee. Coffee in big amount takes calcium out, and we don't need that. The effect of water and alcohol. You know well about water, but still I want to say that scientists paid attention to the fact, Chinese researchers paid attention to people who live long, 100 years and more. They all drink warm or hot water in the morning with small sips sitting down. This was a rule discovered. In the morning, our body needs that, not more than 150 milliliters. Why? Because thus we dissolve what's in the stomach, the acid in the stomach. And those who have very low acidity, if you drink too much water before breakfast, then you have to postpone your breakfast. So you have to know that. About wine, there is a whole science, enotherapy, treating diseases with wine, good wine, of course. So if you want to relax after a hard-working day, if you drink and you go to sleep, then in 3-4 hours, you will wake up. So it so happened that you took a glass of wine in the evening, go to sleep a bit later so that you do not wake up midnight. What else does our brain need? Of course, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and so on. So what's important? It's to know which two elements are responsible for sleep most of all. It's calcium and magnesium. So these two elements are fully responsible for sleep. But for calcium to be absorbed, you need vitamin D. And pay attention, vitamin D is fat soluble. So it is in our fat tissues. So you give tests of blood of vitamin D and it's too low. But if you walk and do certain physical activity and then give a blood test, and then from your fat tissues, vitamin D will go into blood, it turns out we have a normal dosage. So here we can have mistake. That's why it's useful to go and walk before sleep. So as to magnesium, every sleep phase needs magnesium because otherwise you will have insomnia. And all the B group vitamins are necessary. If your blood tests, well, you have problems with sleep and you do blood tests and all vitamins are normal, calcium, magnesium, then the thyroid might be the problem. The influence of music, there have been researches showing its influence on the brain and on sleep. When our body listens to music, then new neuronal connections are formed and gray matter increases. And there are 3 stages of what music you should listen to, in what order, and where more neuronal connections are formed. And it's interesting. So the first, jazz, second, classical music, and the third place, all the rest of music. What helps with good sleep? Why drink pills or something like that when you can be helped by dark grape juice, cherry juice and cherry fresh, bananas that have a lot of potassium and magnesium, then water with lemon, and hot milk with curcumin or dry apricots, or kefir with honey or chamomile tea. So why do I live day and do I live night? I don't think I have to explain. The titles themselves show you they restore circadian cycles. Then liquid gold, you know why? Because remember, for sleep we need vitamin D and we need fats. And that's what is here. Polyunsaturated fatty acids and 3 kinds of omegas with very correct ratio. As to liquid gold, take it in the morning after food. The thing is, why in the morning? Omega 3s from drugstores, from fish oil, because ours is from plants, but if it's fish oil from fish fat have to be taken in the evening, but our liquid gold has to be taken in the first half of the day. Why? Because just believe me for now. If you want to research it, do it later. We don't have enough time right now. I might tell that later. Fizzy Easy, we have 4 of them, but there is one with magnesium, potassium, and B complex. This is very important. When you take one of those 20 tablets and put it in the water, you get all these elements, but also you will take the water itself that becomes alive, because when magnesium comes into water, it changes its pH and it's more than 7.5, and it becomes live water that we need, and that is identical to the endogenic water in our body. And magnesium also takes part in nerve impulses besides sleep, because during stress, and now I don't have to say it, most people are under stress, and magnesium is destroyed by stress. So there is hypertone of muscles, and insomnia is the result of that. B vitamins increase your energy and accelerate brain response. Another formula very important for sleep, called for procardial. What should I say about that? Here we have B4, choline. So, which regulates very important functions of our body. So insomnia is the first sign of the lack of choline, and second, presence of diarrhea. So people are often going to the toilet several times a day, and besides antioxidants and everything else, one of the ingredients is Baikal skullcap, which improves sleep, and who have problems with sleep need this. My mind decelerates brain aging and helps you to sleep, and also cognitive memory and so on. So its composition is such that there are herbs that, when they are connected to each other, facilitate falling asleep and having deeper sleep. Procultural, I think that I have to tell you what here helps, especially those who have problems falling asleep, on when they wake up they cannot follow.
Tonifying medicine for the brain, and it helps coping with this insomnia in the reticular structure. And what you need to remember about procultural, as it has the ingredient Gymnosperma pentaphyllum, and this is ginseng, and it gives energy. So you need to take it before 4 p.m., before lunch. Take it and everything will be fine. Next, please pay attention. This is not liquid, this is powder. And why is that? because this is soluble fiber of the corn fiber. You can even see fiber here. And it's very good for children. And corn contains melatonin, which, as you remember, is the hormone of sleep. And as to liquid form of fiber, it has a different soluble fiber of acacia, and here it is corn. A new formula, dual life melatonin. Maybe someone has already tried it. How we are just getting to know it. And look at the composition: melatonin and magnesium. And we talked a lot about it. And it also has apple fibers. As to melatonin, I've already said this is the youth hormone. It influences the skin tone. It also helps hair, skin. Which products contain melatonin? Grapes, pear, corn, you already know that, pomegranate, strawberry, radish, and tomatoes. And we are almost done. You can follow us on social networks. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. You can follow us, and thanks to our interpreters, we could listen in Ukrainian, Natalia, and Irina and Helena interpreted into English. And you can see the date of our next webinar on the 7th of November. The topic is very interesting: myth or aging. All truths about keeping skin young. I'm not going to talk so much about the skin because I'm not a cosmetologist. I'm going to tell you how the body gets aged and how to use scientific studies to slow down aging of the skin, because it's something that can be done from the inside. Good luck to everyone. Have a good night, nice night of sleep, and see you soon.